Welcome one, welcome all to Crypto and Chill. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and with me as always on Tuesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, Jeff from the Blockchain Report and the No.Pro.
Oh man. So yeah, I finally got so my shower's been broken, right?
Yeah.
I no cold water. I've been taking scalding hot showers.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so they had the plumber come today and the rubber gasket on the valve was fucked up, so it wouldn't allow the cold water to flow back, and he got it fixed. So now I can take cold showers again.
Nice.
And they got the
Nice.
washer fixed here, so now I can do laundry. And yeah, it's a good day. It's a good day.
I love it. I love it.
And
Well,
another good day. Canton had a nice little pullback. So I've been thinking about, I was gonna ape in this month or next month. But I think I'm just gonna do a nice weekly DCA until we get closer to October and really hammer hard and just save a lot of dry powder and then hammer hard once we see some more lows, because I don't want to just ape in too early, but just getting some consistent DCAs in.
it's not a bad idea. I think David would probably disagree, but I can't help but see the value in just if you're bullish on a project long term, at least, whenever you see decent pullbacks, buy a little bit. I mean, not a large amount, but freaking 2%, 3%, just little bits. And because that's what I've been doing. $100 here, $100 there.
Yeah.
But I got a good 4 or 5 grand that I've just gotten dry powder, that I just got sitting there, that I'm ready to ape in on like 2 or 3 more projects, like to add to my bags, or maybe if something pops between now and then, like that Zen token, Zenith.
Yeah.
If for some reason like that token launches here soon, I'd love to get some of that, because those that don't know, Zenith is the project that is bringing Ethereum dApps, from Ethereum mainnet to the Canton network. So I see that as being a very bullish early gem. I definitely want to get in on that action as soon as it pops.
Yeah, same. Do you know if that a fair launch?
Well, I don't think they have a date. That's the thing, and there's still a lot to be determined about the tokenomics. I would love to see the tokenomics, and what kind of launch or release that they do at the beginning. I would love to see that.
Yeah. And speaking of tokenomics, how about that discussion yesterday on Kita? Man, I like Crux's demeanor. How even when David challenged him and he was like, "Okay, let me be calm," and it was nice refreshing.
I very much enjoyed that. It was spirited. It was we went back and forth. There were some differing opinions between me and David, and David and Crux, me and Crux. I actually learned another way of thinking about governance tokens from Crux. So that was actually it was kind of nice, and that's kind of what happens. If you have a debate and it is fact based, not emotional. You don't do ad hominem attacks. You don't do personal attacks, and you just bounce ideas off each other. That is healthy. That's the way colleges used to be. It was a place for civil discourse, is the term that they use, where basically it unemotional, or if it is emotional, you're passionate about your point, and it not to an extent that you like lash out at the other person. It's not necessarily confrontation. But as far as governance tokens, he was talking about Ondo and made a very, very valid point. I've been very critical of Ondo. Actually sold my bag of Ondo, kept a small moon bag, but a lot of it I put into dry powder because it's simply a governance token. But he made a very valid point that if it keeps getting the adoption that it's getting, as far as tokenization and things like that, and getting TVL, and there could be, and this is a big if, a rush for these institutions to start buying the token to have a sway over governance, to be able to vote, on fees and things like that. So that was actually something that I hadn't thought of. Again, here at the node, we are not saying that we know everything about crypto. We are very knowledgeable, but as soon as you think you know everything about something, you cease to learn. And we are here to learn as much as we are, to help you learn. So if we're not learning and evolving, then what value would this channel be? When we first started, me and you, I mean, I was pretty new to crypto. I mean, I had been watching some shows and invested in some crypto, and I knew the basics. But when we started the whole DeFi thing, DeFi crypto and airdrops, I had just got into DeFi, and I was just starting to figure out what the fucking permanent loss was, divergence loss, freaking all these different protocols and platforms. And you remember, I mean, we were just kind of muddling through it and sharing what we were learning, the mistakes that we made and the successes that we had. And that's what I loved about Crux, is he was very transparent. He's like, I made a lot of money, in crypto a couple cycles ago, and I lost, not all of it, but a good portion. He took a pretty big hit, a couple $100,000 or something like that. But he had made like 1 point something million, before that. So, he's doing fine, but it shows that he has integrity. He's not just going to put his best foot forward and tell you nothing but his successes.
Look at all my wins.
Exactly. So that I have a lot of respect for Crux, even though we don't see eye to eye. Like, he's very big on XRP. I wholeheartedly disagree. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But based off of my knowledge of XRP, I just don't see it.
Yeah. And looks like Sack Nasty, super bullish on MSTR. It's
he keeps plussing up that bag. My understanding is Nasty has quite the bag of MSTR.
Oh man. Hopefully his stepmom doesn't confiscate it for being a bad boy.
I think his stepmom has plenty of money. I think she has like an OnlyFans of like stepmoms getting stuck in dryers or something like that.
Man, I wish he was stuck in my washer. That would have been better than the dude that was fixing it.
Oh, I'm sure the plumber's crack would have been a lot nicer to look at. Yeah. Oh shit. Oh, here we go. Oh. All right. Well, to start out, one thing I want to stress, anybody that checks out this recording, all of the deep dives and kind of our opinions, what they're shaped off of is these deep dives that we generate. Partially is it, yes, we use AI, but I manually go through and I verify the sources. I check, as much of the data as possible. I mean, can't do it 100%, but I check the high points. I make sure that there's no major, issues as far as, that it's accurate, a lot of the tokenomics and the things that we like to highlight, the value capture, things like that. I like to verify those things just because I want to make sure that we're putting good info out. But something that I do want to point out is, unlike most people out there, this isn't our opinion. We're not just giving our opinion. We are compiling data, like real, actual data, that when we generate these videos, when we generate these executive summaries, that you can read through, all of these points, I highly encourage you to do your own research and verify, but it is good, solid intel. I mean, I would say 80, 90% or better, as far as accuracy. Can we make mistakes? Absolutely. But, you can see we have the slide deck here that you can go through and then also the graphic that just kind of gives you a snapshot. But the key that I want to point out is in the source document at the very bottom. I cite all of the sources. So everywhere that we got information, like this one right here, is docs.constellationnetwork.io. This is official documentation. We are citing the words from the projects. And if not from the project, it is from high quality sources. Lattice Gateway is a huge part of the Constellation Network. Again, the docs, official docs for Constellation Network. Again, constellationnetwork.io, delegated staking. This is all our cited sources. So you can go through. If you want to cite your sources and you want to tell us where we're wrong on these projects, please, 100%. If you cite your source, more than happy to go and change the documentation. Mm-hmm. But and I will share what I'm talking about. And I appreciate this gentleman. Brown Thunder. He says, I appreciate the discussion and willingness to engage. My issue has never been whether you report cites sources. It clearly does. Thank you for actually looking at that, because most people don't. My issue is that I think several of the conclusions are based on assumptions or interpretations that don't reflect the current public information or the full context. So he gave some examples, but he didn't cite his sources. Mm-hmm. He didn't link to where these claims are reinforced. So the report cites 5 to 12% staking rewards, yet the current official white paper discusses DPoS and delegation without specifying APY percentages. I cited our source. Our source was, where is it? Damn it, I think I closed it. So where I did it from, it was a blog from a major centralized exchange. You know what? You take the helm for a second and give your thoughts while I look that up, because I want to make sure I show it.
Yeah, I really think it's important that this is good, that he did give examples, but also, like you said, citing your sources. And it doesn't just help us, it helps everybody, because we're here to help educate people, even ourselves. This is really important when you're investing your own hard-earned money into projects, and if they don't generate revenue, or if it doesn't translate, like you said, Ondo, the company, can generate revenue, but if that doesn't translate to token holders, what good is holding the token? And the same with XRP and every project. And having this education is important, and knowing where the information comes from is super important, because you can have some guy's blog, some random, XRP Maxi Bob, and he could just be spouting a bunch of nonsense. But if it's from reputable sources, you want to make sure that it's valid and, legitimate. But if we're wrong, we want to make sure that we correct it, so that way we're putting out good information and not just shilling a bunch of bullshit like most of the people in the industry.
No, absolutely. And so this is off Crypto Hopper. This is just one of many places that I was able to find it. But KTA staking features a tiered reward system where longer commitment periods yield higher annual percentage yields, or APYs, typically ranging from 5% to 12%, depending on the staking duration and network parameters. Users can stake KTA through the official Kita wallet or supported third-party staking platforms. So it's staking / delegating is my understanding of it. So again, we're citing our sources. You mm-hmm. need to cite your sources. Otherwise, you're just making claims. And I'm not, and with the amount of people I engage with, I just cannot go and find it for you. Because again, I cited my source. That proves you wrong. And I don't mean that in a bad way. want to point out that you're claiming that the report, you said the report cites 5 to 12% staking rewards, yet the current official white paper discusses, and you're right, that is a major issue though that I have with KETA, and their official documentation. There is a lot of stuff that is actually true about the network that isn't in their documentation, and there's a lot of stuff that the KETA community and Ty, the CEO, claims about the network as it currently is, or of what's coming, but it's not in any official documentation. Mm-hmm. So until it is, until it can be verified, it's just rumor and hearsay.
Yeah, it's like what we were talking about before we went live, is all these projects that talk about partnerships are in the works, or they signed some agreement, but nothing ever comes to fruition. So you can spout a bunch of nonsense and hype people up, but until it's official and signed, sealed, delivered, it's just pure speculation. And we've seen too many of these projects hype up the news and then nothing. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, here's another one. And that's happened with projects that I've been bullish on. I was bullish on Casper forever. And, and part of it is they were building out the, basically the network to validate the information for IBM's AI, Watson or something like that.
Casper network, right? Not Casper.
Yeah, Casper, not Casper. Casper. Yeah, okay. And I mean, I was bullish on it forever, and Casper Labs ended up bailing and taking that Prove AI with them, and left the Casper network and went over to HBAR. So shit happens, and you gotta adjust your thesis on a project based off of new information. So this is another one. The report calls the Google Cloud benchmark, and so this was the stress test that Casper did, or excuse me, not Casper, KETA did with Google to try to show that it could do the 10 million transactions per second that they were claiming. And this was on testnet, mind you, not mainnet, and it was a controlled environment. It wasn't real world. So it says the benchmark is theoretical. Benchmark that was actually run isn't that theoretical. It's completely fair to question whether the level of performance can be achieved on a live production network, but that's a different discussion. It's not a different discussion, because if you are investing in a project, you are investing in the product that is going to be used and that is going to be adopted by whomever. That is what I am investing in. Is I'm investing in the tech, the products and services they're going to offer. I'm investing in the network adoption. I'm investing in the team. I'm investing in the tokenomics. All of those things that we look at here. I want value capture. I want to know that the token plays a part in me sharing in the success of the network. But it is theoretical, because I will show you why I say that. Again, I am going to cite sources. So, KETA mainnet, real-time TPS. So this is based off of real-time TPS, shows how many transactions per second the blockchain is processing. So this is the live network. The max TPS that it has done so far is 20 transactions per second. Now, the theoretical TPS, what they're claiming, is 10 million transactions per second. And if you want to go off the stress test that they did, that we streamed live on our old channel, it actually exceeded 10 million and did over 11 million. But that was on the test net, not the main net, and it was a controlled environment. Mm-hmm. You have to understand this. And I'm not saying the mainnet can't do that, but you need to you have to pay it. The devil is in the details. You need to understand these things. What you do with that information is up to you. If you want to ape into Kita, all we're trying to do here is make sure that you do it fully knowledgeable about what you're aping into. That's it.
Can you change that time frame up there in the right, top right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can do 1 day. And yeah, I mean, that's even like down. So in a day, it's only done 0.03 transactions per.
That's got to be a fuck up or something.
And then 30 days. Well, it's doing an average probably. You know, it's taking all the transactions and dividing it by, by how many, like on this one, it's probably dividing it by how many days.
Wow.
So
yeah, and I'll say, farming airdrops and stuff, you're using test nets, and I've come across that in the past where a network will launch their test net and it'll have, boasting this impressive TPS and network usage. And then when mainnet launches, it's congested. You got spiking gas fees, and it's
you got people trying to fucking crack it to steal fucking liquidity and shit. There's a lot of shit that I can only imagine. I'm not a programmer. I can only imagine the shit that they deal with. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this max transactions per second is per 100 blocks. So that's an important thing to understand.
Okay.
So yeah, 43 transactions per second per 100 blocks. So, but that's per 100 blocks. It's supposed to be, 10 million or more transactions per second. So that's a far cry from that. Not saying that it can't do it, just saying it hasn't done it yet. So that's all we're saying here.
Yeah, what does that say about how many people are actually using the network to?
Yeah. Well, let's move on. I don't want to spend the whole time talking about Kita.
Yeah, this no hype. I don't think I've seen him before, but welcome. What's your opinion on Caspa? I know David said he's bullish on Caspa. I don't know much.
Isn't David no hype?
Is it? No, I don't think so.
I could be wrong, but I thought that was David. No, it's not. It's not.
That's a no DeFi, right?
That's right. That's right. All right. Yeah. Welcome, no hype. So, this is our chill show. This is one of our many live shows, but this is our chill show where me and Jeff just hang out and shoot the shit and talk about crypto. But the topic for tonight that I want to get to is, with all of these different altcoins being down, one, I want to talk to you, Jeff, about your thoughts on if some of these other some of these altcoins are even going to rebound in the next bull market. We saw last bull market, there was very select projects that got decent positive price movement before the Trump token sucked the liquidity out of the market, and October 10th happened, and all the other exploits and stuff that just kicked the bull market in the nuts. I mean, ETH. Like, what is it? Somebody posted the McChicken sandwich has like outperformed ETH, in the past 5 years or some shit. So yeah, ETH. I mean, it got up to 5,000, but yeah, nowhere near, the usual pumps that it gets. Usually you get the Bitcoin pump. Bitcoin pumped fine. I think it got like a 6 or 7x or something like that. From like the 15, 16K lows of the bear market, because it got up to 125K. So it had a nice pump. And then that ETH pump just never really came. You had the ISO 20022 tokens that, had nice pumps. Pure speculation, though. And then really nothing else. You had the Trump coin that pumped, and then it was over. Everything was fucking over. So I kind of wonder, what's your thoughts on, are some of these projects just never going to rebound?
100%. Because I mean, you look at stuff like even 10 years ago with EOS and was it XLM, Stellar, a bunch of projects in the top 10 that are just vaporware now, never to be used again. I mean, even Cardano's starting to fall in that category. It's hasn't bared the fruit that we once hoped it would. So I'd be really interested to see what projects fall out of the top 10 or even climb into the top 10 or even 20, outside of like the stable coins. And I don't know if you saw this, but even like the stable coins, so this OpenUSD, I guess there's like over 100 projects that are launching this stablecoin OpenUSD, and Circle, the stock, took a hit today.
Oh yeah, no, there's like a consortium of like some banks and institutions that launched their own stable coin, and a bunch
Mhm.
of the legacy stable coins took a hit.
Wow. Yeah, I just saw that, before we went live, so I'm interested to dive more into that, and learn about, see what kind of competitive advantage it has over USDC. And I mean, I don't know about USDT, but yeah, and that's like this past year, just really, or even 6 months, the we started the rebrand and everything with David, getting more honed in on the value accrual of these projects and tokens, and really shifting my perspective on, okay, what do I want to invest in, getting back in the markets. Like there were a lot of projects I was like, oh yeah, this would be good to invest in. Now I'm like, oh hell no. I really want to be super strategic with what I put my money into. And yeah, and hearing David and this guy talk about Caspa, I want to learn more about that as well. But Canton, even Aerodrome with their relaunch or their um, upgrades coming soon.
Yeah,
Um, and I mean, as bullish as I was on Plume, the token is not so hot, but but yeah, the Zen token with Zenith,
yeah,
I was really digging that interview and what they're building out. And
hmm
I'm really, after doing that deep dive on that Can Borsa, that decentralized exchange on Canton last week, I want to start doing more deep dives on the projects building in the Canton ecosystem. So I'm going to be doing a lot more on that.
I
Uh,
like that.
so that way we can find those nice gems early.
Well, dude, I mean, I would love to. I posted something today in our Discord for David about a list of like 6 or 7 wallets. Let's see,
Oh
where did
yeah,
I
and
put
Hype.
it?
Hype's another big one too. I wouldn't be surprised if they jump in. Where are they at in the rankings right now?
Yeah, so I posted this in our Discord,
Nice.
and so this is a bunch of wallets that are on the Canton network. So you got the Braun wallet. It looks like C8 wallet,
Okay.
Kansai, Cowrie, Console, and Grofty are, I guess, wallets that are on the Canton network. So David's always wanting to hold the native token on that actual network, which makes
Yeah.
sense. So anyway, if you're interested, in our Discord, you can go to the node.pro, and but and you can join the community there. But
Wow,
this
Cardano's 20. It dropped down to 20 in the
card,
rankings.
oh shit, dude. I mean,
Wow.
I've been trying to sound the alarm on Cardano for a long time. Like I used to give DZ a ton of shit on Discover Crypto, or not Discover Crypto. Yeah, Discover Crypto. Because he was just always like, we would like play like a drinking game where we would take a drink every time he mentioned Cardano. Because he was a huge Cardano bull. And and I'm not clowning him. I mean, I hate to see anybody, take a hit on on their investments. But for a long time, I just have not seen any adoption of Cardano. All the promises that Charles made, none of them materialized. It just, there was nothing going on with it, because this is how we look at projects here. We call it the trifecta, but value capture. So basically, fees and revenue are shared with token holders. Long-term value for participants. Hype that Jeff just mentioned is a perfect example of that. The reason that token has outperformed Bitcoin, and while everything else has been dumping, for the most part, it's been going up and to the right. It's because it has solid tokenomics, in my opinion. It's the fees that are generated from the protocol go to programmatic or automatic buybacks of the token and permanent burn of the token, which makes the token deflationary. It is a contributor, not necessarily the entirety, but a contributor to the price movement, up and to the right. So that's what we're talking about value capture. Is there a connection to the profitability of the company or the protocol or the chain with the token itself? Actual adoption and use of the network. Real live adoption. So we're talking, they've gone live on the network. There's actual TVL being moved, fees being generated, not they're talking with, there's rumors of actual live use of the network. That is what we look at here, because we don't deal in what ifs or maybes or rumors. If you want to speculate, there's more risk and there's more potential for reward potential. Anytime that there's increased risk, there's usually increased potential upside. I am looking for 10x's. I am not looking for 50 or 100x's. If they happen, awesome. But I am trying to focus on simple 10x's. If I 10x my portfolio, I'll have $500,000 to $1 million. That's fine for me. That is my financial goal. If you want to make millions and millions of dollars and you want to take more risk, that's you. But I am focusing on real adoption, real value capture, and real revenue and fees being generated. I sound like a Canton Maxi, so I'm always talking about it, but it's a perfect example. It has $2 to $3 million per day of fees generated that 100% of buys the Canton token and burns it. It is still inflationary. The token is still inflationary. There has not been enough network adoption and fees being generated to outpace the mint of new tokens. The mint of new tokens is steadily decreasing over time, and the fees being generated are steadily increasing. However, it has not tipped the scales to being deflationary yet. Again, we point out the positive and the negative on every project. We're not just budding projects. We are painting the full picture so that you can invest with a full understanding of these projects and these tokens. Canton is probably the thing that I'm most bullish on, but facts are facts. It is inflationary at the current time. It has never been deflationary. It's a new project. And what that is going to do to the token price is still to be determined. Just because it becomes deflationary doesn't necessarily mean that the price is going to go up. Chances are, yes, it will, but it's not a guarantee. Another part of the tokenomics is that It is required, and it is mentioned repeatedly in the official documentation that it is required to be a validator or a super validator. So that takes tokens out of circulation. Another very important thing is I want to see any claims by the team or the network. It needs to be documented. It is a major shortcoming with the Kita network. It's often like that, 3 to 12% or 5 to 12% that we quoted.
Yeah.
You don't find that in the official documentation. You find that in a lot of places, but not in the official documentation. Mm-hmm. So, it's the team has a lot of work to do. And unfortunately, supposedly, somebody was saying that Ty, the CEO, wanted to come on the show, and I would love to have him on. And I would, as long as he's willing to have, a respectful debate on the actual merits and the facts of the project. I don't want to deal with emotions. I don't want to get into, gotcha moments and stuff like that. I want to have a fact-based discussion. I tried to follow him, and he has blocked us. So, sir, if you see this, I would love for you to come on the show. We will be nothing but respectful, as we have with all of our guests. We just want you to show up, and all that we ask is that any claims you make, you can cite official documentation that you are willing to put the claims that you state in writing, and have them for us. That is all we're asking. I don't think it's a lot to ask. So,
no, and in traditional finance, what do companies do? Like Microsoft, Facebook, Google, they put out like a press release or official documentation with any kind of changes. You don't just hear, and even if it's hearsay, it doesn't, it ends up being false. Like, I forget the name of some outlets that produce articles like, oh, NVIDIA CEO is unveiling this AI chip. And then it's like, oh no, that was just bullshit. Mm-hmm. Seeking Alpha, I think they've had some stuff that was a little premature. And, you're like, oh, look at this bullish news. And then it's like, oh no, that's not true. Unless it's from the company itself. And like I was saying in the chat, thanks for the comment. But until we see some official documentation from the team, all the stuff that they say, it can be just hearsay. And
Isaiah, I know where you're coming from, and I listened to that Spaces, and I've had many people. Here, let's do this. I've had many people, send me the link to that Spaces where Ty made that comment about what was it exactly? He was basically making comments about the tokenomics. I'll just say that. But it is not, like Jeff was just saying, it is not stated in their official documentation. And many of the things that people cite in their comments on X are things that he mentioned might be coming in the future, not what is currently in place. So I can state that, the Node.pro is going to be, the top source of news in all of crypto. I hope, but, does that make it a fact? No. That's just saying what I hope happens, or what we're trying to make, happen. KTA is a governance token. So, that can be voted on. That has to be voted on. Any changes to the tokenomics and things like that. It is to be determined. We are reporting on the current state of things, not what it potentially is going to be. That's why I have never done price predictions. I don't feel it's a responsible thing to do. You can look at charts and you can extrapolate, and people that are chart guys, that's fine. I'm not a chart guy. I am good at research. I'm good at finding information and putting it into an easily digestible format so that you all can skim through it, get the information that you feel is valuable, fact check the stuff that you feel is incorrect, and again, post and let me know if you find something that's wrong. But and we appreciate the comment. Don't get me wrong, Isaiah. And if you feel it's underrated, that's awesome. As long as you understand the details of the project, none of my business what you invest in. None at fucking all. It is literally none of my business what you invest in. All we're here to do is educate you on the positive aspects and negative aspects of every project that we discuss. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, with Crux, we were just discussing, kind of crypto in general. But yeah, I felt it was a very, very good discussion.
Yeah, facts. And I see this somebody on Twitter saying some gay ass paid fudders of KTA. It's like this channel does not take any money from sponsors, from projects, from anybody. We're bootstrapping this all ourselves. And
you want to know how bootstrap we are, and we get offers. I get emails on a daily basis of centralized exchanges and different organizations wanting to pay us to talk about projects or to put their banner on our show, and they incentivize us with anybody we send their way using our code. We get a fraction of their trading fees, and they'll pay us. We get that all the time, and we don't do it. We have literally lost money doing this show for what, 2 years now, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yep. We pay about like $400 or $500 a month, out of our own pockets to do this show for the past 2 years. This is a labor of love for us. We're not getting paid to FUD projects. We're not getting paid to hype projects. We are all about, because the reason me and Jeff started this channel is we felt like every channel, like not every channel, but most channels out there were doing nothing but hyping projects, and getting paid to do it. I mean, everybody knows that freaking BitBoy Crypto, their one sheet came out, and it was like to mention a project on their live stream was like $10,000 or something like that. And there's a bunch of projects out there, a bunch of channels out there that are like that. They get paid to for what they have on their show. We're not like that. We're here to put out information, and we feel if we get paid in some way, that it ruins that credibility, because potentially, we're saying things because we want to keep getting that money. Mm-hmm. We decided, the three of us, me, David, and Jeff, we decided that we're not taking money from anybody. That anything, and that's why we're always showing our newsletter and the couple of paid kind of products that we offer, is you can choose to buy those and help support the channel if you find value in them, or don't. That's fine too. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, we're here to teach you. That's it.
Or like, share, and subscribe is the best no cost way to support the channel.
No, that's, yeah. If you don't want to buy anything off of us, that's fine too. But yeah, you can like, subscribe.
Yeah, like with the BitBoy thing, there's too many channels that were just nefarious with their actions and not being truthful. And integrity is everything, because if you tarnish your name, I mean, look at BitBoy now. There's no recovering from that, man.
No.
There's no recovering from that. He tried to make a bounce back, and man, I learned, over a decade ago, it's like, would you rather lie or be truthful and keep your integrity, and your name's all you got, man?
I learned in the military, it was deeply ingrained in me that integrity, like if you lacked integrity, you did not last. Like you didn't get promoted. You didn't, last. If you did certain jobs, you couldn't even do certain jobs if you lacked integrity. Like, if you're in a high level position, to where you need like a top secret, like a TSSCI clearance, or something like that, or you're in special forces, you don't even make it through the freaking selection process if you lack integrity. If you're an integrity violator in some military schools, it's immediate, you're gone. Like you can't even, there's no talking about it. There's no, freaking, you don't go before like anybody. It's just, you're an integrity violator. You're done. You're out of here. You're going home. That's it. Mm-hmm. So integrity to me is more important than anything. And that's why I fucking love working with Jeff and love working with David. So if you ever doubt that what we're putting out here isn't 100% based off of our research and how we actually feel, just know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, Isaiah, 100%. I am excited to see the updated docs as well. And if those updated docs come out and they are more transparent about different aspects of KETA, more than happy to change our stance on it. More than happy. Again, we're here to learn and evolve as much as all of you are listening to this, because you're trying to learn and evolve. Appreciate you, Crispy. I know, because you're a devil dog. You're freaking USMC. Freaking, you know what I'm talking about. All right. Yeah. So check this out. All right. So we're seeing all of these altcoins bleed out. And I'm trying to maximize my chances of taking advantage of what's coming to the market. So again, I'm looking at that value capture. I'm looking at the fees and revenue being generated and actual real adoption. Because other than that, there's really not a whole lot other than speculation and hype, that you can look at. It's those are the only three things, the three metrics that I've found to look at that hold any real water. So, I mean, what is it that you look at when you're looking at projects and, you're looking at the kind of the possibilities, or the word is eluding me, but go ahead.
Well, also outside, because, I've been deeply entrenched in airdrops the past 4 years. So getting to learn more about the different aspects of tokenomics from David and you doing these deep dives have given me a different perspective on what to look for and the actual things to identify. But also, like with it's not the Trinity anymore, it's the trifecta, right?
Yeah. Well, dude, Crypto Crux had a valid point. And it was something I thought of, but I just neglected to do. But yeah, dude, my mom is like hardcore Catholic. She would slap the shit out of me if she saw I named it that. So I named it the trifecta.
But also, I want to know who's involved in the project. What have they done in the past? Because if they're known scammers and they build something in the code or have a back door that can rug the project, I don't want to be involved in that.
Well, dude, we saw what happened with Zcash.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why Zcash dumped like it did. It was revealed that like apricot or whatever that was, the peach tree or whatever that David was talking about, because of its privacy. It was a double-edged sword. Everybody was investing in it because of the privacy, but it was revealed that because of the privacy, that there was a potential exploit that somebody could have been minting, basically fraudulent Zcash, because there's only like was it 10 million or 21 million or something like that is the max supply.
I forget the total, but
I think it's 21, but I think it's the same as Bitcoin. So it's, the potential's there that somebody could have minted a bunch of Zcash, and there's no way to tell because of the privacy. the end of July, there's
Yeah,
supposed
21
to,
million.
yeah, 21 million, I thought. The end of July, they're launching something to where it's going to like fork or something like that, to where people can bridge their tokens over. And only 21 million tokens can be bridged over. So if there's any left in the old, then that shows that there was an exploit. If there isn't any, it shows there wasn't an exploit. That's the only way they were able to figure out a way to find out. Even the devs and stuff like that, I guess, don't have visibility on that. So it's, yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No Hype says it is 21 million. It's a fork of BTC. That's what I thought. I don't like to make statements unless I'm sure.
Yeah.
But thank you, No Hype.
Yeah. And so really getting into the tokenomics, the value capture and stuff. I also I want to put the tokens that I do invest in to work. I've been desperately searching for projects on Canton to start getting back in, putting my Canton to work. But
The
I'm also
only
gonna
place
get back
that, dude,
into
the only place that I've found, and I'm not saying it's the best place, was that Braun wallet. And I was earning a decent amount of Canton for a while, and then the rewards, a major part of the rewards, like 80% of the rewards, went away with one of the halvings. So basically, they decreased the amount of newly minted tokens. But I am still earning about 2 to 2.5 free Canton tokens a day, just by
Okay.
being on there.
I can use Braun on my MacBook, so I'm gonna get that set up because I can't do it on my Windows, so I gotta move over to my laptop. So I might be able to get that going. But
15.
Aerodrome is another one that I'm man, I'm debating on whether or not doing a small buy this week on Aero before the new platform drops next month, but I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think the token will take a dip after Aerodrome's new protocol rolls out?
Are you talking about Arrow or?
Aero, yeah.
Dude, honestly, you know me. I don't do predictions. I just find projects that fundamentally and that meet those criteria that we keep talking about. You know, that's really all I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that my portfolio is going to outperform anybody's. I'm just rolling with what I know. I'm trying to use just logic, reason, because I mean that's what Google, all the .coms, Amazon. The reason that they are successful and they generate revenue is adoption.
Mhm.
Google is the fucking 800-pound gorilla because everybody uses Google. When people talk about using a search engine to find something, they just call it Googling it. They don't say, I'm going to go online and find a search engine and look this up. They're like, why
Gonna
don't you
ask
just Google it? Yeah,
Jeeves.
no, yeah. They don't say Yahoo. They just, I'm going to Google it. Why don't you Google it? That just means search for it online. So Amazon, the reason it's so freaking valuable is everybody fucking uses it. It's adoption. It is a massive technology. We've talked about it before. Between VHS and Betamax. Old technologies. The Blockbuster, and when Redbox came out, and Netflix and stuff like that.
Mhm.
When new tech, when new tech comes out, or and it's whatever's most adopted becomes the most valuable. That's what I'm going off. I don't care how much it's hyped. I don't care about the volatility. One thing I love about Canton, and like Jeff was saying, I wish I could find a place to fucking use some DeFi with that thing. The way it ranges sideways, dude,
Yeah.
I would 100% be in a liquidity pool right now. the way that Canton just ranges between that 16 cent and like 13, 14 cents. I would just set my upper and lower and just watch that thing go sideways. Not with my whole bag, but with a portion of it. And just watch that thing go sideways and rack up yield. Fucking all day long, dude.
Are you doing anything with your Tron bag? Are you DeFiing any Tron or?
It's honestly not big enough to really. I should. I bought like $200 of it. Nothing major. I just wanted to get some exposure to it. I'm really waiting to go heavy into anything until September, October.
Yeah.
Everybody smarter than me, which is most people, is freaking saying, October is the bottom. So I'm waiting till around October. If there's like some hard dips between now and then, I'll significantly DCA in, but I am saving some powder for October. I just want to get those fire sales.
Hit those hard R dips.
Dude, well, like Canton, it dipped down to like 6-7 cents, like once. And I wish I would have fucking bought at that. If it dips down like that again, I'll be throwing 1,000 or 2 into it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I'm glad I downsized and really cutting back on a lot of spending, getting some things paid off, and that way I can just stack as much dry powder as I can. Because in the past, I haven't been in as good of a position to save dry powder, in market dips. It's usually when the market's up when I've had, some extra dry powder, but but man, it's do what you can, take advantage of these down markets, because if you can forego certain things, certain luxuries and sacrifices, make certain sacrifices for the long term.
I do it all the time, dude. I mean, I live a very humble lifestyle. My cabin's paid off because I built it myself. The property's paid off. I bought it cash. I have very few bills. I have like groceries, propane once a year. I got to get my propane tank filled. Yeah, I got my electricity bill, my cell phone bill, the usual. But other than that, I save my dirty fiat for investing, in crypto and real estate and, the channel. That's where most, I want to put my money to work to hopefully make money. That's where I want the majority, and that's what you're doing too. You downsized. You got a smaller place, and you've mentioned a couple of things that you've done to sacrifice short term to benefit long term.
Yeah, move closer to work so I don't have to spend as much on gas.
Yeah,
I don't have a car payment. So, and that's another thing. A lot of like I see a lot of young people. They'll get these nice new cars that are like $600-700, and then insurance is another $500 to $1,000.
Yeah, they're paying $800 to $1,000 a month, just for their wheels.
Yeah,
not to mention gas
and gas.
It's like fuck, dude. No, I get it. Fucking people gotta be struggling out there. I mean, freaking inflation, because people's wages have not gone up proportional to inflation. So if you were living paycheck to paycheck, like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, your money is worth about half as much. So all of your bills basically doubled in like 8 to 10 years, and your pay didn't double.
No. Nope. I cook all my food at home, pretty much 90% of the time. Maybe once or twice a month I'll go out for pho somewhere, take myself out on a date.
For real, dude. It's like maybe once a week, once every other week, I'll stop by my buddy and his wife's Thai restaurant. She's from Thailand, and well, you had it right.
No, they were closed.
When yeah.
Yeah.
Well, next time you come up, make sure that you come up and we we get that because, dude, she's
Yeah.
from Thailand. Like her pad Thai and gang dang and like all the different Thai dishes. Yellow curry, green curry. They're off the hook. Like everything she makes is freaking just crazy good.
Oh yeah, I know. You've been hyping it up. I've been salivating for it because I love some Thai food, man.
Oh hell yeah! No, but I'm not saying it's good for you. Top mid cap and large cap coins that will
That would be
mostly
a David
likely.
question for sure.
Well,
I think hype is
hype
the one
hype is a
comes to
big one.
mind.
Hype is a big one, and I would say that's a large cap.
Yeah. It's in the
Mid
top 10
cap.
now.
What's that?
It's in the top 10 now. It's number 9.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it's been up and to the right, and it has hugely outperformed Bitcoin. So yes, hype is the large cap. Mid cap. What do you think, Jeff, on mid cap?
Oh man, I wouldn't. Uh, well,
Me. Oh, go ahead.
what's the mid cap range right now?
Let's say top, like top. Let's say from 50 to 150. We'll just call 50 to 150. I'm just pulling that out my ass.
Let's see, what's in 50 to 150?
Aerodrome, Caspa.
And Caspa's, speaking of Caspa, it's been ranging sideways pretty good. I'd like to ask David if there's some good DeFi opportunities in that, because that's just been ranging like between what
So this is the 1 week chart.
two
If
and a
you
half
go
to 4 cents this
if
whole
you
year.
if you go to here, it's been ranging pretty well
Yeah,
from February of the beginning of this year. So since the beginning of this year, you can see, it's been, holding this level, these levels. Not to say it can't break lower. I'm not a chart guy, but just from doing DeFi and liquidity pool, setting liquidity pool ranges and stuff like that. Like if I was going to enter into a Caspa liquidity pool, I would do something along these lines. So we had some candles down to here, so probably put something about like that, roughly, and probably something along these lines.
yeah.
So basically from 2.7 cents to 4 cents is probably the range I would set
Yeah.
for a liquidity pool on Caspa. And Caspa is a strong project. So Aerodrome would be another one.
Morpho. I don't know. Is Morpho outperforming?
It's not. Well, no. Okay, no. Aerodrome is not outperforming Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So if we're looking for outperforming Bitcoin, that's a rough one. That's a rough one. Outperforming Bitcoin and a mid cap.
Yeah,
Oh,
Morpho's outperforming Bitcoin this year on the year.
is it?
Yeah.
All
Looking
right.
at the chart. Yep. What do you say? Oh, Wispy said BNB.
Okay. I'm not bullish on BNB, but facts are facts.
Let's see.
Yeah, I would have to look each of these up, relative to Bitcoin. But the big ones, that I know that David has mentioned repeatedly are Hype, and it has great tokenomics and outperformed Bitcoin. Um, Tron, Tron is another one. BitTensor Tau has done really well. I think it's outperformed Bitcoin. Don't quote me on that though.
Wait, which one was that?
Tron and BitTensor Tau.
Okay, yeah, it looks like
VVV.
on. I'll see Tau.
I'm not crazy bullish on VVV, Venice token, the AI project, but it has done some substantial up and to the right. Let me pull it up to make sure that hasn't changed. So I mean, yeah, it's done pretty well. So this is VVV, and since the beginning of this year, here is January 1st of 2026. This is what BitTensor Tau has done. So, yeah, no, it's performed quite well. And with my very limited fucking skills in doing this, you can see that this is a trend line. And again, I'm not a TA guy. I don't pretend to be, but I can draw trend lines and lines of support and resistance. But we have broken down below the trend line and we closed out a daily candle. How to interpret that? Ask a TA guy. Ask David or something like that.
Yeah, typically it's when it comes back up to retest that the bottom of the trend line.
It confirms that breakdown.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, but take that for what it is. But since the beginning of the year, it has fucking significantly gone up. It's gone from like $1.60 ish up to currently at $12. So 10x, 11x, not too fucking shabby in a fucking bear market.
Yeah. Yeah, and Big Platinum, no financial advice. That's all up to you and your risk tolerance and stuff. And yeah, Wispy, that would be a red pill segment for sure. Yeah. I should get me one of those outfits for the red pill, man. One of my many.
Dude, have you seen that that YouTube short or that X post where it has that jacked Asian dude with the Sailor Moon outfit on?
Oh, that video you shared.
Yeah, and the black dude comes up and is all drunk and like fucking with his camera and stuff like that. And the black dude's in these pink shorts. And it starts like shoving the Asian dude, telling him, because the Asian dude's like, "Hey, stay away from the camera, dude. Like, you're gonna break my camera."
Yep.
And so yeah, he ends up like squaring off with him and freaking lays the freaking dude out. He's freaking Sailor Moon
gets him in a reverse chokehold.
Yeah, ends up like choking him out. And so yeah, Sailor Moon, knows how to freaking wrestle or knows how to do some BJJ or something.
Man, I used to have a Sailor Moon outfit from like 10 years ago.
You would.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually wore it at one of my last jobs.
Halloween parties.
Halloween, and I won like $200 for the costume contest.
I saw the photo verification. You showed me the photo in the Discord. So
yeah. Oh man. I don't have the German outfit anymore, but
All right. Well, we'll cut this off. Yeah, FET, Big Platinum, FET was a big deal there for a while. FET, as far as AI, and not to say that it can't be again. Maybe we need to do a deep dive on it. I need to do some deep dives tonight for tomorrow.
I forgot about that.
Maybe we'll do FET. I honestly don't know anything about the tokenomics. I do know that it's an AI play. I know that it's pumped very hard in the past. I have not heard any news, good or bad, about it, like in the past year. And that's take that with a grain of salt. But if I haven't heard anything with how much I'm digging into crypto, says something. Jeff, have you heard anything about FET in the past year, good or bad?
Totally forgot about Fetch AI. You know, it's completely been out of my sphere. So yeah, that would be a good one to
All right. So
refamiliarize myself with.
What's a project, Jeff? I'm always asking David, what's a project that you want me to do a deep dive on tonight and tomorrow?
Oh,
so I'll do FET and another one.
Oh shit! You know what? Because I've done I airdrop. I farm this airdrop. Intuition, the trust token.
Well, I want to do something that's like in the top 50 or the top 100 that we haven't done already.
Well, where is it? Let me see where it's at. Okay, no, it's 800. Actually, let me look because I got the stuff pulled up right now. Actually, did you guys do the Leo token?
I think we did, but I think it was before we had the library.
Okay.
Let me think. We haven't done Polygon Matic, and I know that there's a lot of tokenization being done on it, and it's down hard.
Well, why not Venice? VVV.
Dude, maybe we should do Matic because check this out. Like this is fucking Polygon Matic, dude.
The poll token.
Yeah, dude. I mean, fucking it is down. So like at its high was $1.28. It's down to 6 cents.
Gosh.
So and there's if you go to rwa.xyz, yeah. I don't know if we can anymore because they started charging for everything.
Ooh.
Oh, I know, dude. And it's not cheap.
Boo that man.
Boo. Yeah, so check it out. Polygon is number 9 as far as TVL. I mean, there's $500 million of TVL on Polygon Matic. And if it's tokenized assets, then we need to look at the tokenomics. And I'm thinking, yeah, we'll do a deep dive on it tomorrow. But we got to look at the tokenomics and see what kind of value capture the token has. How does what in the tokenomics allows the fees and revenue, if any, that are generated, through buybacks and burns, through whatever. So anyway,
yeah, no, that's a great one because that is still a big network that as people still use. I haven't really used it much in the past year, but it has been at the forefront. But I didn't realize it was that down to 71. Wow.
Yeah,
man.
No, it's down to like just below 7 cents right now.
Whew.
And at one point it was $1.28. So that's a 20x. If it goes back to where back to where it was at, that's a 20x ish.
Well, so we got to see if it's got the value capture. So
that's going to be the deciding factor. For me is the tokenomics. If it has value capture, I want to see the fees and revenue that's being generated, and I want to know what is being tokenized and by who.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the adoption aspect, the value capture, and then the fees and revenue that are being generated. Because if there can be fucking $800 trillion of TVL on a chain. If it just sits there, that's not worth anything. It needs to be getting moved. Transactions, is the movement of money and value is what generates fees, and revenue and things like that. So that's what we want to look at. It's just because there's a bunch of TVL doesn't mean anything. It needs that's why Kent is doing so well, is because of the $2 to $3 million worth of fees that it generates that buys back and burns tokens.
Mm-hmm.
That's what is generating value for the token holders potentially. So anyway, we'll end this out. I appreciate you all.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
see. You got any closing thoughts before we go?
I will say, the cat right here. When cat relaxed, cat sleep. Be like cat.
Yep. Like
no
in
care.
In these down markets, this is the time that you should be doing your research.
Yes.
And building your portfolio out. We're getting it's almost time for shopping. If you're bullish on crypto, if you understand the risks and you understand that every penny that you invest in crypto could go away. I fully understand that. Every cent that I have invested in crypto, this is a highly speculative market. Every dollar that you invest has the potential to go away and never come back.
Yeah.
That's the mentality that I take when I am investing in these markets. There's a lot to be determined on how these projects are going to be evaluated, the legislation that is going to be drafted and passed in different jurisdictions around the world, which ones of these projects are going to get the adoption, which ones have the value, the token has the value capture, all these things we talk about. Whatever it is that you think is going to make the price of your token go up, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to figure out. Now is the time to do it. Nobody's paying attention to crypto right now. The majority of people are, crypto's a scam, I'm out of it. This is not a popular time, but that's why this is the most powerful time. Once things start pumping and all those people start flooding back and new people come back wanting to invest in crypto because things have already 10 and 20x or more, that's when most of the people are going to flood in after all the gains have been made. And those of us that were here when it sucked, when there's blood in the streets, we're going to be the ones cashing out while they're investing. That's how investing works, is somebody else is buying whatever it is that you bought when it was much cheaper. They're buying it at a much greater value than what you bought it at, and hopefully you're taking profits while everybody else is FOMOing in and everybody's super excited. You should be selling. You're doing the opposite of what the majority of people are doing. That's how you make money in stocks and commodities, in crypto, whatever, real estate. It doesn't matter. All of it. You buy low, sell high. That's it. That's the code cracked. So anyway, I kept rambling, but
that easy.
have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the Node main show at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern. And until then, Veteran Crypto out.
Peace out, Girl Scout.